Hello, everybody, and welcome to our masterclass today. Halls and town hall use case inside of Remo. My name is Katrina, and I am part of the wonderful team Remo here at Remo.co. And I am coming to you from sunny San Diego, California, where it is 9:38 a.m. in the morning. So if you can hear me, if I am coming in loud and clear, if you could please, in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, click on one of our emojis, either the clappy hands, the thumbs up. If you could put a little hello inside the general chat so I know where you're coming from. I love to see how far around the world we have people coming in. So I see you, Danielle. I see you, Melissa from Indianapolis, Jay from Tampa, Sadvir, hello, and Danielle, good morning, afternoon, evening to you all. Just as a couple of housekeeping, the Q&A tab is the farthest tab on the right-hand side of that chat participants Q&A box. Just so I don't lose any important question inside the chat, if you could put your questions into the Q&A, that would be super awesome. Hello, coming in from Toronto. Hi, Alejandro. He is also part of Team Remo, coming from Mexico. Sadvir from England. So we do have a real international reach today. I love seeing that. So without further ado, I am going to jump into the discussion about town halls. If at any point in time you have questions, please do put them in the Q&A. There are going to be chances where I'm going to ask for some interaction just to demonstrate a few different key components. So to start with, town halls. Town halls have been around for quite some time. They were originally, the first town hall is traced back to Dorchester, Massachusetts in 1633. And it was an opportunity for the government and its citizens to come together and have a lively discussion, pass information, receive information, have debate on topics. It was very useful to get citizens involved in the initiatives, to gauge sentiment on particular issues, on which ways to move forward, and to more understand deeply the needs of the people. And the components tend to be the general meeting with information relay, the community and the government feedback forum where there's two-way conversation and two-way dialogue. And where we now see town halls is that a lot of corporations and companies have adopted the town hall philosophy to be able to more effectively reach and engage with their audience of their employees. So when you think of a town hall, you should think of a town hall as a conversation instead of a one-way information dump. So you should be engaging in lively discussion and interaction and not really look at it as just like a lecture that you have to get through. Like, I have to push all this information out. And then by the end, it's just information overload. The town hall format really is most beneficial whenever it is interactive. So why do companies now use the town hall? I know in different countries, like the town hall is very, very, very popular, mainly in the professional sphere. But here in the States, we do have a lot of community town halls. We have a lot of government town halls. We have even like schools and the school boards, just anywhere where there is leadership that wants to hear from the grassroots, want to hear just any really important pieces of feedback. A town hall format is really great to do that. So it helps get people on the same page. It makes sure that your entire company or your entire community is really understanding the information that you're trying to relay in a manner in which you can't necessarily do in email. You can't necessarily do in virtual communications because there can be some misinterpretation and meaning lost. It's info sharing time. It's also initiating two-way dialogue between groups who may not otherwise have the opportunity to come together and meet each other and discuss each other and kind of see over each other's fences. It's one of my favorite phrases that we use in the Marine Corps. Is like, you just have to look over and see over each other's fences to see what everyone else is doing. And it also helps align the collective with the overall big picture. So it's a really nice touch check-in type of tool in the kit of different types of events and gatherings to make sure that everyone understands the big picture. They understand the common goal. They understand what everybody is working towards and moving towards. Um, so here's a tip: is that if you focus on empathy and open dialogue, you're going to reinforce empathy and a sense of community among colleagues. So again, if there's some stress or some high conflict within departments, or if inside the community, and you really just need a forum to kind of help address these things, it really, if you as the host, if you as the presenter approach it from that empathic place where it's, I hear you, I understand this, you know what, let me take that back for action, like really, really listening to that feedback. You know what, I see what you're saying. I appreciate that. And that's how you can develop that sense of community of like, okay, they get it. They're really here to kind of get our backs. So I'm going to move into some best practices, and some best practices, especially if it's corporate. Again, going back to that, we don't want it to be an information dump. We don't want a town hall to just be a one-way lecture. Survey your folks to see what they would like to have as a topic point, or see what kind of questions that they have that are out in the ether sphere that they may be talking about but aren't bubbling up to the top. With that being said, it's really nice if you provide it in an anonymous fashion. If you provide it in an anonymous fashion, you tend to have some better results, because people who may be a little bit more junior or maybe a little bit intimidated to speak up for fear of, real or imagined retribution or retaliation or things like that, they'll feel more comfortable asking questions. Or people who are newer or think, I think this is a stupid question, but I want to ask it anyway. Because as we know, there's no stupid questions. It's only the one that wasn't asked that is the regrettable one. If it sounds like they want more of a conversation, build your agenda towards more of a conversation, and put more time in your agenda towards that conversation, towards that question and answer, or change the town hall into more of an ask me anything format, when you can go ahead and just really facilitate what the needs are. By all means, get the information out that you need, but as you go further, keeping that need of your audience in mind is what is going to keep them interested, engaged, and not just do that zoomed out of, okay. And especially if they're at home, they have so many competing things. So right over my computer, I can have my TV, I have, a child in the next room, I have my coffee pot, which I'm just like, I can just put myself on like hide and go get some coffee and then come back, because I'm not really jiving with this. Keeping it really, really, really interactive, and then give them what they want. And then, feedback gives you a piece of that overall overarching sense of the direction that you need when you're planning the agenda, because you have a finite amount of time. So, again, the content that you provide should be informative and interactive, and helping people stay engaged. Raise your hand if you've heard that phrase, like, this meeting totally could have been an email. I have said that so many, so many, so many times of, guys, this meeting totally could have been an email, and it's now 2.5 hours long. That's where you want to make sure that the information that you're giving is engaging. And then be open to, or like if you're prepping your clients, like making sure that they're open to maybe talking about some of the tougher questions. So I'm going to go through, I have a virtual town hall tips document that I'm going to provide to you guys at the very end of the presentation. So this will be able to go through everything that I have. If you're taking notes and you missed something, I'm going to provide this document to you. So the first step is obviously planning. So plan and consider time zones, especially for a lot of us. We are operating in the virtual, or especially as we move forward with offices coming back and forth, you can be operating in a hybrid plane. So planning a town hall around the time zones of your geographically dispersed folks, finding a good compromise between the different time zones so that they feel that their time is valued. And here at Remo, we have an entire worldwide employee base. And it is, we are pretty much somebody in every time zone imaginable for the most part. And so the way we split it is that we have actually 2 town halls. We have one during the majority of waking hours for the East, for APAC, for our folks as you move more towards the West up until Europe. Then we have a second one for, Europe, North America, South America, and that way everybody is getting the same information, but it's not forcing people to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning on their time. When you send invitations pre-event to your virtual employees or to whoever your guests, if you want to pulse them and at that point ask them for some of the feedback, some of the questions that they may have, you can do that by setting up a jot form or a paper form or even a Google Doc where you just set up the questions and you can set it up anonymously and have one of your teammates collect that feedback and sort and organize it. And then finally, provide a clear agenda and schedule information. So providing a crystal clear agenda and schedule information regarding the town hall meeting, this is going to help eliminate a communication gap or information ambiguity, and which would otherwise, create a lot more confusion for them. So the other aspect is when you get that back, you may have some questions come back that are kind of tough, and that is really good. But you really want to, as a host, prepare your speaker. So if it's the CEO, if it's the president, if it's the mayor, if it's any of the folks who are really going to take those questions and answer them, prepare them in advance to know that they're going to be coming, and don't ignore the elephant in the room. If there's something really, really big hanging out there, then, address it. And that way it's not hanging over the entire town hall the entire time. So I'm in this document I'm going to provide, I'm giving an effective town hall agenda and facilitation tips from a company called Banana Tang, because I really like how they have their agenda set up. And this is just an idea jumping off point. So they recommend the beginning, starting with that CEO executive portion, so you can set the tone for the town hall. It should be inspiring, it should be empathetic, and it should be transparent, reminding employees why they're there. So reiterate that vision statement, reiterate that mission statement, reiterate the why, so that they can, your audience feels that they can work and collaborate together, or your community feels that they're coming together around a singular purpose. And then here's a great time to welcome new members to the team. If new teammates are starting remotely or welcoming like new individuals, like introduce folks. It makes a difference to receive that warm welcome, to kind of put names with faces. It's also a time where you can recognize employees' anniversaries, birthdays, wish departing employees well. So focusing on that human aspect of the company at the very beginning, again, is another way to engage that audience and bring them in and get them into the tone of like, okay, this is an us thing. And one of the ways, I'm going to show you a tip here in Remo about how I like doing that. You can do an introduction of, we have these employees of the month, or we have this award, and all of them can come up on stage. And you can do something like looping in a video where you have, for example, while you're talking, while you're waiting, you can have this fabulous little drum roll to build suspense. Or while you're bringing participants up on stage, I'm going to share my screen and show you how we do this in the back end of Remo. So there is an opportunity where I can choose people who are in my audience and I can make them a speaker and they can come up and join me here on stage. But what I do while I am covering that is that I will go into, and I'm using my run of show right now. So I'm going into and applause. So I will put up another video to help cover the time that it takes for someone to be able to find their mic and camera, to be able to come up on stage, and to be able to help with any of that like time space coverage. But it also, it like really gets as the host or as the facilitator, having a lot of energy to be like, we're so excited, we have employees of the quarter, let us all celebrate their hard achievements. Everyone, give them a hand clap or emoji, and then you have the applause coming up, and it just really sets that tone of warmth, and it sets that tone of like, I did something really, really special, because people love being recognized for the work and their achievements. People love, having that idea that people are thinking about them on their birthday. And it's meaningful, and building another level of that trust and relations with your audience. And then in the middle, it's featured a good balance of people speaking and interactive elements like live polls and quizzes to keep people's interest and to help break up topics, build intrigue, use separate slides with just a few words on them. And you can move the slides quickly and have the employees hanging on every word. And this is really important, especially if your town hall is going a little longer, or if you have information that you want to relay, or if you have information that you need to get back. I'm going to show you a couple third-party software pieces that you can use with Remo to help really with that engagement of that interactive, and you can know instantly, you can pulse instantly, you can get instant answers to questions that you specifically want to ask or know. So one of the first is going to be Slideoo. This is a more, we find this to be a more business professional focused type of app when it comes to the quizzing, the pulsing, the polling. This is what you would display, and your employees or your guests can take a picture of the QR code, or they can open a new tab and just type in slido.com, and then they type in the number 186938. This is for this specific Slido. So if you guys want to join me, please go ahead and let me see if I can, if you need to make this bigger for your QR code, you can click the full screen in the upper right-hand corner of the shared screen box. So if some of you can join me at the Slido, I can do a live demonstration of just how cool this feature is. And again, breaking up the monotony of slide, 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 information, information, information. This is where you can virtually leverage 21st century technology to have that interactive feel. So if I go in to the, let me go into my poll. So an example of a question: which of the following is the most important thing that our company can offer you? So inside Slideoo, go ahead and click the options. I think we have some of the options. Oops. Sorry about that. We have some of the options in there. So we have telework options, on-site gym, and you can see the great thing about Slideoo is that you can, if you're sharing your screen, you can see in real time as people are doing these priorities. So you can say, oh, okay, so telework options, that seems like telework options are like really, really important to you guys. Can I get a thumbs up if that's true? Again, coming back and being able to, exactly, there goes the thumbs up. So you can see that the live interaction. The next question, I'm just going to move on really quickly, is how do you feel about our strategy for next year? So the first one that I did was one of just a regular different kind of poll. This one is going to be star rating. How confident do you feel about our strategy for next year? And this will tell you live, where the pulse is. So you can do an active poll that's like a star rating and get, again, that instant feedback. And you say, whoa, okay, so there's a lot of you that aren't feeling super confident about a strategy for our next year. Do me a favor, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A right now, because I would love to address this, because this is something that I don't want to stop the show for, but I find it really important that I want to know more about this. So again, that's how you can use this live interaction to then further kind of pivot and frame your town hall. The next is a percentage poll. So, where would you like to go for our next company offsite? Would you like to go to Bali? Would you like to go to Hawaii? I forgot a second I, sorry about that. Go to New York, or do you want it to be virtual? Is it something where you would just rather it be virtual? And you can get this actual feedback instead of guessing. And there is a lot of time where you have planning committees and you have different individuals who really need to make decisions based on what the folks would like to have, but they don't really have a great way to collect that data, and they're just kind of like throwing darts and going, "Oh, if this doesn't work, just somebody let me know." So this is another great way to do it is with this kind of a poll. And then the next one is, what's one word that you can say about Remo? So this is a free type. So if you want to have a free type, this is going to come into a word cloud. And the way that word clouds work is that the most common words and phrases are going to get bigger and bigger. And then, like, if you guys just type in a whole bunch of different words, you can just like throw in any words right now. Then it's going to move this word cloud into a jumble. Okay, you can see more things are popping up. So if engagement was written multiple times, engagement would get very, very large. And other things, like if it was maybe only typed once, those would get kind of smaller. So just at a glance, you can see what some of those more important. So big, a few people have written big a few times. So as a facilitator, I can say, oh, okay, great. Let's talk about that. What is, I love the fact that you guys think this is big. I'm so excited because that's what we're going for. Or, oh, okay, so this is another point where, if you have questions about this, this is not what we're going for. Or it looks like I need to do some clarification. So that's the word cloud option. And then finally, have some fun. I'm not sure. I know that Amy, I saw that Amy was in here. Amy is with Team Remo. And when we do these in our town halls, we we are a little bit competitive. I'm not going to say that Amy is one of the most competitive here, but I'm say that Amy's one of the most competitive here. And so we love having the ability to have some of these quizzes inside our events. So, what did I say at the very beginning was the year of the first town hall? Let's see who is paying attention. What year was the first town hall held? And so you can use these live quizzes to help reinforce learning with the content discussed. So hey, let's do something fun. We're going to recap it, but we're going to do some things like this, and you can incentivize it. Be like, okay, whoever gets the most right, whoever is the leader, they're going to get a free day off, or whoever's right, or whoever's has the most right answers. If it's a community event, we have a $50 gift card to one of our local restaurants here in town. So it will show us that 1963 or 1633 is the correct answer. You're close with the 1643. And then so another question, what state did I say the first town hall was held in? Was it Pennsylvania, Delaware, Connecticut, or Massachusetts? So again, you see what I did kind of cheekily is that I introduced a fun fact at the top and got it back around. So if there are important pieces of information that you would like to have solidified in the learning, this is a great way to do it, is through this live quiz. And again, this doesn't have a ton of frills, but it's very good for more business, more professionally focused events like town halls. And the answer I gave was the correct answer is actually Massachusetts. It was in it was Dorchester, Massachusetts. I'm pretty positive that's not how our folks over in the UK would say that word, but here in the America with the United States dialect, it's Dorchester. So congratulations, Danielle. You have 0 of 2, but you're the only player, so you get to win our happy little piece of Remo swag that I will send out to you. And that is just a real quick overview of what the different types of polls look like. Another thing that I want to show you, I'm going to share my screen. No, Danielle, you're perfectly fine. Another thing that I want to show you is something that's a little bit more fun and interactive. So if you're doing something a little bit more lighthearted, or at the end you want to have like more fun competitive, more team building type competitive, I'm going to share an app called Aha Slides. So Aha Slides, I just pulled a template here, and this is the Harry Potter quiz. So this template, it looks very, very similar to what we just did. I'm going to go into present mode, and I just want to make sure that this is okay. So in present mode, you can join, and I'm not going to go through this because this is a very, very long template that I took. So there's different ways that your folks can join. They can either go to Aha Slides, W06R8. They can scan this QR code and be on their mobile device and in your virtual event on their desktop, laptop, or on a different device. They can scan it with a tablet and be participating on multiple devices. And so, like for example, for this one, this is just a straight. I think I may have a lag because I can hear my. Yep. Sorry guys, I have a lag because I can hear my my thing spinning up. So I'm gonna go. Okay, so start the quiz, and this is again something Amy, Danielle, Melissa. We'll do a couple of these questions. You can see this one's a little bit more fun, and you can build it out a little bit more like a PowerPoint presentation. Again, the first one that I showed you looked a little bit more businessy. The second one is okay. So starting the quiz, 7 of 20. Question rewards more points for fastest answer. So there's going to be a countdown timer. Wit beyond measure is a man's greatest treasure is the motto of which house? Is it the Gryffindors, the Hufflepuffs, the Ravenclaws, the Slytherins? And you'll be able to see the graphs rise. You have 17, 16, 15 seconds remaining to choose. So this is one, okay, everyone has answered. And the correct answer is Ravenclaw. So 7 folks have said Ravenclaw, 1 is Slytherin, 1 is Gryffindor. And then you can move forward into the next one. Question 8 of 20, or awards more points for fastest answers. Which of these is the house ghost of Ravenclaw? So which image? Is it the Gray Lady? Is it nearly headless Nick? I haven't watched the other two to remember. No, one was this the singing lady. I think she's in the oh, sorry. Oops. So okay, so you guys get the idea. It will show everybody, and then it will go into a leaderboard, so you can see who the leaderboard is. So the interaction and the fun that you can have to break up the monotony of just people talking back and forth. There is a third site called Cahoots, Kahoots. Cahoots is more known for education and like a little bit more straight polls and quizzes. So this is the link for Aha Slides. And then there is also the link for games on the whiteboards. So another thing that you can do is after your town hall is finished, you can go down into conversation mode and have times on games on the whiteboards. So I'm putting that link inside the chat as a direction to our help article. So towards the end of your town hall, you want to make sure that you have a feel-good announcement. You want to end this event on a very high note. Sorry, I have a very needy cat who is just banging at my door right now. Okay, she's left out. Sorry. At the end of the town hall, you have a feel-good announcement, and it's a perfect note to leave on. It's a positive impact on your employees. For example, hey, by the way, we're announcing our Halloween party, and we're going to have a costume contest, and the winner of the costume contest gets $100. Or we are announcing a Midsummer Night's Break where all the employees are going to get an extra day off this month to use as they wish, or just any sort of good news that's going to then help uplift the spirits. Then you can move into a live Q&A, featured some of the curated questions that you gathered in advance, and that your moderator has compiled in case any other questions pop up. So notice I said moderator. So there's going to need to be a few people helping to manage this. So you have your on-camera MC. They sometimes are or maybe are not the moderator who's also looking at the Q&A. You have maybe somebody in the background who's helping to manage the chat and helping to manage the participants list and keeping an eye. So there's a few people that can have involvement. So one other really, really big key feature takeaway is, putting together town halls can be a lot of work because there's people that you have to coordinate logistics. You need advanced time to get everything prepared. And you want to make sure that as you get closer to the big day, you have to do some run-throughs to smooth out any final details with your speakers. If you think about it, I come from an acting world. If you think about it like a play, you wouldn't go from script read to performing on opening night without rehearsing the lines, without making sure your tech crew knows their cues, without having a walkthrough, a run through, a tech rehearsal. You have all of these things. So you can prepare for a smooth virtual town hall experience, making sure all the speakers are on the same page, doing a 30-minute prep session before the town hall or in advance a few days ahead to tech their check. Set a time limit for each speaker. And one of the great things that you can do here in Remo to set a time limit is to use the timer feature. So I'm going to share my screen again so you can see where this is. In the timer feature, you can set, for me right now, I'm going to set the number of sessions at 1. I have, according to the agenda, about a few more minutes until it's time for Q&A. So I'm going to put 5 minutes in here for the rest of what I have to get through before we jump into Q&A. And I'm not going to have any breaks. So this way, when I hit go, you'll see the timer being able to come down. And that's a really great visual reminder where you don't have to be intrusive. So in-person events, you generally have somebody in the back of the room holding up like a sign that says 10 minutes. And they'll hold up a sign that says 5 minutes. And then they'll hold up a sign that says wrap it up. And then they'll frantically be going, get off the stage, or I will break you. Please get off the stage, get off the stage. Whenever that speaker runs a little bit long, and the speaker will be like, no, I got it. I just 2 more seconds and I'll wrap up. That's in in-person events. So this is a little bit less intrusive, using this timer feature to make sure that your speakers stay within their allotted time slot, especially if you know that you have personnel who tend to run a little bit longer. We're a little bit more verbose in how they present things. Again, preparing those speakers to receive tough questions. Encourage the ground rule to be anything goes. Any question goes to encourage culture of transparency and trust is vital. But also having these rehearsals to make sure that the technology is good to go. Asking speakers to use a hardline internet connection on a desktop or laptop it's pretty key. And then doing the troubleshooting a couple days in advance to make sure that there's nothing that is blocking their technology by something that's internal in their system, or a firewall or a VPN, or something that is not right with their external webcam. Letting them be able to do some troubleshooting, because again, going back to the play analogy, if your props person doesn't have all the props sitting out and there's a vital prop that your actor needs to go out with and he doesn't have it, that can be a challenge when he's supposed to go out. Have a dedicated person running the meeting and a second admin who can jump in if something goes wrong. And finally, accept that something will go wrong and embrace the vulnerability that comes with that. You can absolutely fix it next time, but that's where you have a couple folks and you have a host and you have the speakers, and they can cover in case something happens. Just do a calm events. Things go unexpected all the time. One good best practice is to keep employees or your audience engaged. Introduce an MC to guide your town hall. Ask for a volunteer from inside your organization who may want to MC. So this way, the remote offices or your remote folks can feel connected to one each other. They may see new faces. There's an organization that about a year ago, they realized that nobody was really asking questions at the regular town halls. And they said, why do we do town halls in the first place? Because it's becoming more of a presentation. And the realization was that they needed to make it more engaging and meaningful. And instead of having senior leadership team host each town hall, they picked a different employee to MC, and it was a familiar face, and it was like a one of us, and there was a more direct connection there to those folks. The MC is a relatable face. They make asking questions less intimidating. They encourage banter and commentary, and they help employees feel more involved about the content. Now, here's the caution. Not everybody is like me, and they love to be in front of the camera, so make sure you're choosing an MC and not volunteering an MC. Get somebody who's really excited and would love to be able to have a chance to be able to do this. Use, again, polling games for an interactive experience. And then build anticipation to maintain the engagement. Take time to build anticipation with humor. Keeping people engaged is grabbing their attention if they've drifted off. So come back, maybe have, especially if something goes wrong, you can, play it off in a playful manner. Using fun GIFs and visuals. I love when we have a super host called Alex Abel, and every time he is in one of our events, he's always posting dad jokes. He and Jared, who's another one of our super hosts, they're posting dad jokes and they're posting GIFs, and but it's relevant to what the speaker is posting. So that's another kind of planted thing that you can have to keep people engaged and having fun. And then finally, how do I know if my town hall was successful? How do I know if things landed? Ask your employees. Send a follow-up feedback so that they can gauge the reactions and understanding. Solicit the feedback either in a company email or in a company intranet if you have it, or again, send out the email if you are in a community, or have the feedback right there in conversation mode with a link to an external form, something like jotform.com. So with some of the templates, you can thank them for attending, provide a recap of what happened, and at the bottom, ask them for a rating or ask them for their feedback and let it be anonymous. So that way you can take the lessons learned and plan your next town hall to be that much more impactful. And with that, I have completely run out of time for what I am going to talk about today. And I want to open up the question and answer period. So if you have questions that you would like to come up on stage, so I can have some friends up here, and I can do the opposite of what I've been talking about this whole time, of just information dump at you and have that two-way conversation or the two-way dialogue. If you are watching this on the replay, we are going to have information, all these links that I'm giving. I did promise the link to that Google Doc for the best practices and agenda that I was working on. And I have to grab it real quick. I think it says edit, but I don't know if, so let me know if this doesn't work for you guys. So let me know if I have the settings wrong, because I am notorious for thinking that I have the settings correctly, and then I don't have the settings correct at all. So if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. If there's any tips that you have for town halls or best practices, things that you have done that are meaningful. Okay, thank you, Daniel. Thank you for letting me know that works. If there's things that are meaningful that you would like to share, or best practices that you have in addition to what I talked about, or if you'd like clarification, please just raise your hand and come on up. I don't see any questions in the Q&A. And then just let me know, was this helpful? Give me feedback right now. I can ask, and this is what you can if you use Remo. Ask for feedback the whole time. Say, hey guys, if you agree with that, give me a thumbs up or give me a hand clap. Just let me know that you're here and that you're engaged. And that's the other great thing about Remo, is that you can have that instant feedback of seeing those hands clap or seeing those thumbs up, to be able to keep everybody coordinated as once. So with that being said, again, the components that you can use in Remo to facilitate mode Inside presentation mode, you have your speakers, you have your share screen to just share your slides or to share those external quizzes. You have the Q&A feature to make it really a town hall. Bring the people up on stage, give them permissions to come up and do like a pass the mic sort of thing if they're comfortable asking their question in front of everybody. The other great thing about the Q&A that's built in with Remo is that you can ask that question anonymously and not have any like eyes on you of like, oh, that was a question. and you don't have to feel that discomfort. You have so much engagement that you can have with your audience. You have also, like I said, sharing videos. There are other things that you can do with using external virtual cameras to create like lower thirds on your video box, or to create a virtual background that announces, like if you're announcing employee of the month for the departments, you can change your virtual background to announce what's coming up. There's a lot you can do, but the streaming is another masterclass that we have already on our website. And these are things that we talk about in our Success Labs. So Success Labs are every other Monday from 9 a.m. until 10:15 a.m. Pacific time. We have information about Success Labs inside our conversation mode and on our website at remo.co under the Academy page. So we talk a lot about that, but that's another way to enhance your experience, using the videos and the video clips to kind of keep that energy up and keep the energy going as some of that background information, so it's not just kind of static. The other thing that you can do is another best tip is that if you want to use like that Harry Potter quiz that I showed you, you can put that into the left billboard, the video billboard, down in conversation mode and let everybody form teams at their tables and play along as a team. And again, further that team building, further that team enhancement. And we have a master class on facilitating those types of games and pub trivia and some of those interactions. Again, academy.remo.co is where you can find a lot of those things. So there's no other questions. I am going to go ahead and close down from presentation mode so that I can keep on track with my agenda. And we can network at tables. I am happy to answer any questions that you have one-on-one. And I really appreciate you coming today to this town hall. And I hope that town hall use case, and I hope that it was something that you can take back and now implement with the virtual events that you have in the works. Thanks, everybody.